Welcome to Creativity Hive's weekly program. My name is Miriam Haugen. I'm part of the Creativity Hive team. We help creatives learn to make impactful storytelling videos through one-on-one teaching and live group coaching. And we're really excited to bring you this week's guest. But first, we want to say thank you to this week's sponsor, who is Russ Hedge Coaching. And I have a little ad to show. You can connect with Russ Hedge at russhedge.com. And let's bring on Dillon. Hello, Dillon. This is Dillon Mysliwiec. And is it okay for me to call you a serial entrepreneur?
Yeah, I like to use that now. I kind of set a rule for myself that I wouldn't use that till I was able to earn as much as I did as an engineer, and then this past year I did achieve that. So yeah, definitely, definitely can use
Well,
that.
I think it's good if that's if your aspiration, you need to just put it out there and say, this is what I am.
Yeah, no, definitely agreed.
Oh,
I got a little sticky note on my desk that says that. So it says I'm an entrepreneur, martial artist, reader, manager, leader. Those are the things I got on there.
well, where does comic book design?
I guess that one's probably under the entrepreneur slash manager because for that I kind of I don't do the artistry for our comics, but I do help guide our artists. So just yesterday I was looking over some new works that we got in the rough drafts for our second issue of a comic called Ink. And then from that, I look at our script, I match it to the panels, and I make sure that it's actually going to be able to tell the story. There's room for the letters that'll be bubbled in, things like that.
Awesome. Well, okay. So when I met you, I was so impressed with all of your skills that you managed to meld together in learning. Okay, since we are into particularly Adobe education, I wanted to, before we jump into Canva, which is the main thing I wanted to have you talk about, what I was interested in how you in your learning process for how when you want to go, boy, I really need to know Illustrator, I really need to know Premiere Pro, how, you know, your process.
Yeah, so basically, the way that I learned all of these platforms was initially I picked up something I wanted to do, and then I just looked up things like tutorials for that. So essentially, one of the big things that I did was, let's say Photoshop, which was like the first one I really learned a tremendous amount about. I kind of just like took a picture of mine, and this was back in like I don't know, maybe like eighth grade was the first time I really picked up Photoshop. I found a picture of mine. I'm like, how do I make it do this, right? And I just look up a tutorial for that, and I kind of would just go through that process. And for Photoshop, I didn't really know how to go about learning it, so I just kind of kept doing tutorial after tutorial. But eventually, a few years ago, I started picking up the programs a lot faster. And the reason I was able to do that was I figured out how I learned Photoshop so quick, and I just applied it to the rest of the Adobe programs. So essentially, what I would do is I would pick a task that I want to create, look up tutorials on how to do that. I would complete that tutorial, and I would do that like 3 to 5 times so that I get a general understanding of the platform just by using it. Because if you like just have someone lecture at you, like it can get dry. So now that I've got a good understanding of the platform, I would then go and take a course on, say, Udemy that just breaks down the actual platform. So, for example, I think I mentioned to you at one point that I had no idea what the blending modes did forever. I used to just cycle through them and be like, oh, that one looks cool. And then I took a course and it explained what they all do. And it even explained why they're clumped together the way they are clumped together. And so now, whenever I'm doing edits to a page and I need to blend layers, I don't need to sit there and cycle through them. I already know which one I want, and I now know I can transition in and out and what that will do as well, as opposed to having to cycle through them and then go, is that too much, too little? So that's kind of how I went about that was tutorials to do a very specific task, random tutorials to get a little better understanding, and then very specific courses on how the actual platform functions. So like learning hotkeys is a huge one. Like that saves me days worth of work, being able to do things very quickly. And so you really only understand that when you go through, like a couple tutorials might show you some of those, but when you go through something that walks you through the entire platform and how the program works, that's going to give you such a broad understanding that now, like, I had an artist I work with go, I want you to do this. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. And then I just figured it out. I didn't even need a tutorial because I had a general understanding of the program itself.
That's brilliant. Okay, I'm going to bring Mo and Neil on.
Hi, Dillon.
There we
Nice
go.
Hello.
to see you. Hey there.
So, okay, I really wanted you to talk about Canva though.
Mhm.
And so because it's such a, I don't know. First of all, maybe I should give Mo and I don't know if Mo and Neil want to jump in with anything first.
I have a comment right off, and that's that I like the way you talked about doing your learning process of jumping in for some general tutorials on YouTube or whatnot, and then getting more and more specific until what you're doing without needing to go to the tutorials, because I think for an awful lot of people that's really kind of the way it happens these days, and it's figuring out where you can get the best tutorials that can really save some time.
That's the interesting thing though, is it's not general to specific. I try to do specific to general, and I actually discovered this because one of my clients, he actually teaches dyslexic students like how to overcome their dyslexia, and it turns out the way that the brain is wired for a dyslexic person is slightly different, and they have a little more focus on a frontal part of their brain, not just the prefrontal cortex, but a portion of the brain. I believe that's focused around word analysis. And because of that, I noticed that the way that I learned everything. So like I figured out how I studied everything, but now I actually know why it worked. And specifically by focusing on something specific first, I now have a purpose for the program, right? If I just start playing with something that's complicated and I don't understand it, I'm going to be frustrated by it. But if I do a very specific thing, I solve it, I feel that dopamine hit, and then I can go, okay, what else can I do? So then I do a broader tutorial, and then after that I go, okay, what can this program do, right? So by doing it in the reverse order, I immediately have interest in the program because I know what it is that this program is capable of, and now I can learn more about the program.
Okay.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Awesome. Well, okay, we need to pretend. Okay, so I know some of the people watching are DJ and thinking about you, have worked in Canva a lot, but then we've got other people like Mo who was just saying, "What's Canva?" So let's tell us what Canva is.
So Canva is basically the way that I refer to it is it's like a super basic form of Photoshop, maybe a little bit of Illustrator, but primarily it's more Photoshop because it's pixel based, not vector based. And with Canva, the purpose is speed, not necessarily quality. And the main reason why I enjoy that is that I can create something really high quality in Photoshop, right? I can create a very beautifully designed icon or logo or whatever it is, or I can do the same in Illustrator. But if I want to start putting that in different contexts, other than maybe InDesign or Fireworks, if anyone remembers that platform, there's not really a good Adobe program for doing it at speed. And so basically Canva, which is, for the most part is free to use, it's very rapid. You can do things very quickly. You can resize things at multiples at a time. So you can go, okay, here's one video or one photo that I made, and now I want this adjusted to vertical, horizontal, square. And immediately you can have all three of those created, right? And they can do that for both video and photo, which is extremely powerful. And the Adobe programs, although they kind of can do those things, it's extremely slow in comparison.
Right. Well, okay, so are you prepared to do a little screen share with us and show us?
Yes, yeah, I'm actually, I wanted to pull up one of my projects real quick to show as an example of something I've done. And And then let's see. Let's do skip all. That's fine. I got broken assets because I move stuff all the time. So let's do
Correct.
present. Let's do share screen. I want to share this screen over here and see how this is looking. Ooh, that's loud. Okay, let me turn that volume off there. Right, so like for example, right here, I've got an animation. It's very basic that has some video playing in it. Obviously, they're all broken and disconnected. But basically, this was a advertisement. I made a couple others for a live event that I was helping put on. And then this year, I wanted to be able to have my team be able to create more things with this. And I'm like, first off, I'm not going to teach them all, Premiere Pro overnight. Plus, if I need them to create quick content, Premiere Pro is most certainly not the way to go. Even if you've got the newest CC version, I actually still have the old CS6 version, but even if you have the newest CC version, it's just not that fast. And unless you have a beast computer, you're not going to be pumping out content and rendering it very quickly. So basically what we can do, oops, I got this open. Here we go, Canva over here. I can come into here. Let me see, where's some of the content? I think this is one of the examples of one of those pieces of content, right? I can go into here and I can toss those same assets in here. I can do some of the animations, put some clear things in here, right? So you can see it's a video timeline. If you go into here making a video, it has a similar timeline. You just can't do the stacking yet. I do actually believe that they're going to be adding that at some point. And they do have a little basic transitions. They have snipping. So it's not meant to be a full in-depth editor. It's just meant to throw together these assets. So for example, you can see this ending clip. It's basically going to be something that would be repeated. And then this end video and beginning video are what we would be swapping out for content. And then it's like, okay, I made this last year, but now I want to be able to put this up in a story, or I want to make it a square image, or even the thinner horizontal, depending on what platform I want to put it on. And basically what you can do, and I'll pull this up because I don't want to duplicate it because I got too many files already, but what you can do is you hit resize, and if you have the pro version, which I think is like $60 a year, it is inexpensive, it is not costly. You can very easily go, I want an Instagram story, and actually it's giving me my recent, so it says Instagram story and Instagram post square, and I can copy and resize both of these, and it will automatically resize everything to fit into that window. And the cool thing is, other than videos that are like in the background, see how this is border to border, it's not going to adjust that very easily. You kind of have to go in there and move that. Okay. But what it does do very easily are icons like this. So that's a floating element, and it immediately, I didn't change the size of this, the program did. So you saw that it fits the whole screen over here, right? So it fits the full screen, but because it's a floating element, Canva automatically resized each one of these. So you can see that each one of these was resized. And I think I had to tweak them a little bit, but it took me a couple of seconds to tweak, as opposed to, a few minutes for the whole file to get copied over in Premiere Pro and then go in and edit and scale and all of those other things. And then all of the animations I already applied to it are already added. So that I don't have to do anything else to it. It's already done. So it's extremely quick. I can immediately, like I said, I did horizontal, I did vertical, and I do square. Because I do Facebook advertising, those are the three that you need to go across all the mediums that they allow for Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger, etc. Whatever else they're going to buy next, right? So it just makes this so quick. And then obviously you can use this for YouTube. You can make thumbnails. They have so many templates. You can see over here the sheer quantity of templates. I can then take something of quality that I make in Premiere Pro and After Effects and then toss it into something and showcase it in a large variety of ways. So that's basically how I've come to use this. And I have other friends in the marketing space that they went from making a few clips for themselves to realizing how valuable this was to clients. And now they charge thousands and thousands of dollars a month to create maybe 100 pieces of content, but that 100 pieces of content takes them very little time because they can pump it out with Canva.
Okay. And what is the prerequisites in terms of hardware? Do you need any? Are there any hardware?
So yeah, Canva is a web-based application, so most of the actual rendering is done on their end. Very little rendering, other than like say the preview of the video right here, is done on your end. So you don't actually need complicated hardware with like Premiere Pro. Like there's like tons of requirements for your computer. And then, sometimes you even have to be a little, knowledgeable in the tech space to understand that you might have to go in, where's the edit preferences? You have to go in here and actually change up, what is it? I forgot where it is. The device, I forgot the name of it is. Memory, there it is. You might have to go in here and delegate certain memory from your RAM to it so that it doesn't get overwhelmed by Google Chrome, which eats up all your memory, right? So because of that, and not only that, it's automatically getting saved constantly. I do believe the Creative Cloud programs do have autosave features for the cloud, but the fact that this is web-based, every time you make an action, it's saved. Right. So you don't have to worry about like you make a big change and then you wait for it to happen and then your program crashes because you've got 300 tabs of Google Chrome open and forgot to close them. So it's kind of it just kind of helps avoid any headaches down the line. And like I said, like the idea that, and actually I'll show you real quick. So basically if I hit resize, this is how long is this? 26-second clip. Obviously you can do it with longer clips. And I want to create both an Instagram story and post because this is already the horizontal one. Instagram story being vertical, post being a square. I hit copy and resize. You see it opens 2 more tabs, automatically starts generating the resized videos. See? So it's very quick. And you'll notice, like, see, it resized. So it's super fast. That took, a total of like 10 seconds, right? Like it's extremely quick compared to Premiere Pro for anything like that. And so that's kind of the way that I see it, is that I would go into Premiere Pro to create brand quality content, such as, maybe where to go, like this logo here for this event. That was definitely done in Photoshop and then Illustrator. And then when I wanted to animate the little blood drip, I'm going to do that in Premiere Pro or After Effects. But once I have that snippet, I can put it anywhere, and that's what I would rather put it in Canva than try to pump out a bunch of these in Premiere Pro with all the different video files, and then you move a file, and then all of a sudden you're like, my video, it's broken. So it all gets stored on here. Like you can see, you can create folders and organize them, as you wish. So like it's pretty easy to use. You can upload upload. You can upload audio files, video files, images, right? And then you can organize them accordingly.
And what is Canva? It's got quite a big name. I haven't used it, but I've heard quite a bit about it. What are the particular fields people are in that gravitate towards Canva instead of something like Premiere or any other application that you would normally use that as a bit of a bigger name?
So, are you asking like what industries might be using this?
Yeah.
So honestly, the marketing industry by far, like, definitely went right to Canva, because you'd have to imagine you have marketing knowledge, but you don't have design knowledge. Now you gotta, you're getting paid, let's say $3,000 a month to handle somebody's social media, and then you have to dish out half of that to a VA, using Canva. Instead, you pay $60. You spend some time, you learn the program, you create a template, you get it approved by the client, and now you can just make alterations of the template, swap out a few images, and you could pump out hundreds of pieces of content very easily. So definitely the marketing space is huge. And then, that can either be a company that's like a digital marketing company, or it can be internal to the company as well. So like, obviously there's companies that are large enough, they have an internal marketing team. Canva is what I normally see them using. So right now, I'm giving consultation to a real estate coaching company, and their whole marketing team that's internal uses Canva. Like, they don't use anything else. They don't use Photoshop. They don't need any of that, because there's so many custom templates in here that the odds that you're going to have a conflicting one with a competitor, extremely small. But if you want to make super high quality content and stand out, obviously you need to go the Premiere Pro and After Effects route. But then how do you compete with speed, right? There's this whole idea, what is it? Speed, quality, and cost. So how can you improve one of these, right? So if you're trying to compete on cost, you're going to reduce either quality or speed. But instead, we can try to keep a buffer on speed with something like Canva.
So Canva's pretty much kind of like almost a WYSIWYG in its design.
What do you mean by that?
What you see is what you get, kind of drag and drop pretty easy kind of.
Oh yeah, it's very, very intuitive. Like like there's been very few times where I've had like little bugs. Like every once in a while, for example, I don't want a image or a video to be the background itself, like embedded into the background.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, it'll like automatically do that, but you just Control Z and it fixes it. And the cool thing too is like I'm showing this for video, but like that's $60 a month. Basically, if you look at their dashboard, they now offer whiteboards, so you can use it for business. So you can even use a whiteboard to lay out like a storyboard. So like let's say you're creating like a 3-minute commercial for a client, or even a 1-minute commercial for a client, and you want to lay out a storyboard, right? You can do that in a bunch of different apps, or you can do it right in Canva, where you're going to end up ultimately laying out your content, right? Because if you make an advertisement just for TV, like that's a waste of money now, right? Like you could be using it in so many other places. And yeah, you can't do like tracking, like in After Effects, you can get the tracking down, so in case someone's head's moving too far for a vertical image. But if you adjust that in something like After Effects, or I don't know if Premiere Pro, the Creative Cloud, offers that, but the fact, it does now. Yeah, it's good. So basically, you can get that part done there, but then resize the video elsewhere. So it's definitely not. It's definitely worth the time invested in this. Like I said, there's whiteboards. They have presentations like PowerPoint slides. They do video editing. You can print directly from there. So like let's say you make a cool screen grab from one of your videos, and maybe you meme it out. You can immediately print it on a T-shirt, a mug, a portrait, whatever. You can now build websites in here, which is insane. And then one of the other cool things too is that they just added a new feature. So for anyone who's constantly deleting backgrounds for photos, it's always a bit of a pain. Canva actually added a very quick tool. 1 click deletes the background. It's very accurate as long as the photo's clean. But if you're doing Photoshop level editing and you're not using clean photos, you already have a problem to begin with. So honestly, if you have a clean photo, Canva can handle it, and it's going to handle it faster. And then what they just launched, I think like a month and a half ago, was background edit or deletion for videos. So if you have somebody walking in the foreground with a moving background, it can actually clear the background.
And
so you can basically create green screens.
How accurate is that?
I have not actually gotten a chance to use that yet because it's so brand new, and I haven't had any video footage of a clear foreground, but I will definitely keep you posted on that, because I did watch that, and I watched like the demonstration they had, and as long as you have like a highly focused front image, like it seems to be pretty good.
That's quite interesting. Incredible. That they can chroma out. Yeah, they can key out stuff.
Yeah, and basically what they announced at their I think it's called Canva Create. That's like their, like the iPhone release. Like they have like the big meeting. That's kind of like their annual thing where they release new things. Their goal, they stated this year, was they essentially want to be the creation platform. So they want to be able to do everything that all the Adobe programs can do in one program.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So eventually, like if you don't learn this, you might have people beating you purely from speed, because I'll let you know, I have plenty of clients that they are like, I really want this to be perfect. I want it to be beautiful. I need the brand to be perfect. And I also have had plenty of clients who are like I need this yesterday. And you're not doing yesterday in Premiere Pro. It's impossible, right? I don't care how good you are. I've seen veterans trying to do this. It is not that fast of a program when you need to do quick things. And so, once you put that together, like if you can use both of those, you're going to be better and faster at providing what your clients are really looking for.
Canva is owned by Adobe, yes?
No, I don't believe so. I can't imagine they would make a competitor to themselves. They could be.
They seem to be, absorbing all kinds of things.
Okay, so Canva is kind of...
Canva is the parent company, it looks like.
Okay,
Canva,
so they pretty much want to be able to take some of Adobe's creative apps and put it all into one basket and make it a creative experience on the cloud.
Well, if you think about it, they already have web design on there now. That's Dreamweaver. They've got video. That's Premiere Pro. They have photo editing. They've had for that's what they started with. That's Photoshop, and depends on how you look at the elements in there. You might have a little bit of InDesign. I don't think they really have vector. I haven't played with it enough to know if they have vector images, but you can print out to a bunch of different things, like obviously JPEG, PNG, and PDFs, things like that, and they do print quality, digital quality. So it's just one of those things where even simple stuff like that, like when you're in like Photoshop and you're doing editing and you're like, oh, I want to save this as a PNG, it's like file save, drop down, PNG, quality. Instead, in this, it's like file save, drop down, PNG, print. Like it's it. Like you don't have to like set a bunch of other settings. They already have them all set for you. It's like a sliding scale if you want to change the quality. Like they've really reduced the complication or like how difficult the program is to use. They know what you're going to want and they just use that.
And it is a fully blown non-linear editor like Premiere Pro, or is it kind of scaled down a little bit?
What do you mean by that? Like,
okay, so you can edit video in Canva?
You can, but it's more limited. Is that a good fair?
Yeah, like for example, you can do like basic what's it called? Like in the adjustment layers, like things like that. Like you can't add a layer on top to adjust. But it's I could geek out with the on Canva, yeah. Like for example, like one thing that you can do is like the brightness, contrast, tints, things like that, like the basic stuff you can do in like what's it called, like Instagram, for example. That's kind of like the big thing I've noticed is like if you've used the old creative suites, you'll notice like, oh, I want a sepia image. Like there wasn't like a sepia button. Like you could download a series of actions to do that, but then Instagram comes out and it's like, oh, in 3 seconds you could do that. And I really think that Instagram is probably the inspiration for Canva. It's the fact that you can click a button and immediately get a visual appearance that you want. So same with video, like they have quick filters you can add to it. They're like, oh, do you want abstract look? Do you want neon look? And so you just drop filters on top of it. And so it does quick edits. And then there's typically it's like, what intensity do you want on it? Things like that. And then outside of that, you can do like video clipping, like you can just cut edges, you can do transitions, but you can't do things, like I said, like you can't do tracing, so you can't have like object tracing or other things like that are a little more mechanically complex for a program.
So you're not going to be doing your feature film in Canva.
I wouldn't be surprised though if in a couple of years you could.
Who knows? Yeah. Hey.
And I see there's also Canva for Teams, right? That's part of their pricing structure. So this is collaborative working. Yeah.
I was just gonna say that's $60 allows 5 team members, including yourself, so four total people. Like which is like ridiculous. So like I got the program, I started using it. I needed a friend to help edit, and I was about to, I'm like, how do I get it to him? I'm like, oh, I have 4 team slots, and you can take people off and remove them whenever you want. So like, let's say I have a client, I could add all my clients team on there, finish their project, and then kick them off and go to another client and do the same thing. So yeah, it's pretty easy to add people to it. And like $60 for 5 people to have access to this. Right now I have a series of companies. I have my marketing consulting agency. I have my comic book publishing company, and I have a collection of music businesses with my brother. And basically I have my business partner added for my comic book company, and my brother added here. I have one of my artists that we manage added to it, and I forgot who the other person added. Somebody else is on it. Somebody else has access to it. But they can use all the pro features just by being logged into my or being logged into their account through my program or pricing, whatever it's called, right? So like it's incredibly powerful in that manner as well.
So the teams is something that you can collaborate with on a singular project as
live.
Well.
You can do it live too. Yeah. So like 2 people could be on the same project at the same time, editing the same file.
And each person can see what's going on. Correct?
Yep. So like if I select a box, it'll highlight it, kind of like Google Docs. Like, if 2 of you are in there at the same time, you can see like their cursor and things like that.
Yes.
I don't think you can see the mouse because I feel like that would just be an unnecessary tracing. But if they have an item selected, it'll tell you they have it selected and it's locked because of that. Like you can't move it if they have it selected. So and then the other thing you can do too is you can also only add team members to certain folders. So for example, my comic book partner is only on a comic book folder. That way he doesn't accidentally do anything to my music business or my marketing clients, right? So it's also excellent in that manner as well.
Fantastic. What do you see the future for Canva looking like? I mean, compared to the plethora of software out there. I mean, there's so many new pieces of software coming about probably daily.
So based on the fact that I've probably used like a half dozen open source programs like GIMP and other, like, what's it called? I forgot the video one that's like Premiere Pro, DaVinci something. Resolve. There it is. Yeah. So like I've used programs like that before, and almost always they're like a little less intuitive than the Adobe programs, and it's probably just because, like, they don't have an entire software team working on these constantly, nor do they have the same team working on it constantly. So there's changes from time to time. Adobe is really intuitive across all of its platforms, but the fact that Canva has everything in one place, if Canva keeps accelerating at the rate they're accelerating for the cost of their product, they're not even close. Like, if you're brand new to the creative space and you're trying to create a bunch of content, like, Canva's going to blow any of those out of the water for dollar per dollar, because nobody needs Hollywood level footage when you're a startup. Yeah. Right? Unless your startup's literally about how you help other people make Hollywood footage, right? So it's very rare that you need something that quality. And honestly, the templates that come with Canva, by the way, it's not just templates. They also come with like stock footage and stock video. So they have both of those. And then you got sites like, what is it, Pixabay or Pexels, right, that have all the other free, royalty-free images and videos. Like, you can make a really high quality advertisement, post, piece of content, branding, all in Canva without really having to need the Adobe programs. But at their current state, I definitely would say, like, if you're trying to create like a custom logo or something like that, you definitely want to go like Illustrator. If you want to make a Hollywood level video, or like if you guys know about the Harmon Brothers are the ones that have created ads for like Squatty Potty, the Poopery, Dr. Squash soap, things like that. Like, I'm sure you've seen at least one of their ads because they were super viral. Those videos, although they look like dad joke corny, are probably done on like Red Dragon, or was it the Black Magic cameras, right? Like the I forgot the name. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Magic. Yeah.
Okay, I was making sure. Yeah, so they're probably done on very high quality cameras. Those things are probably edited in something like Premiere Pro and After Effects, because they really need that stuff to shine. But the whole idea is you can then take that, dump it into Canva, and now you've got horizontal, vertical, square pieces of content. Let's say you want to change one piece of text in it for multiple different pieces of content. Like, maybe it's just what's it called? Closed caption. There's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. Right. Like, let's say you have closed caption. There's programs that can do that. I don't think Canva can do that yet. I wouldn't be surprised if they buy some program that can do that. But there's like an app. What's it called? I think it's literally just called Caption, but with like maybe a Q or something. Oh no, it's with a C. The logo looks like a Q though. Right. So there's a iPhone app called Captions. It'll automatically take the audio, turn it into closed caption, and then put it in a nice display, and it typically tries to avoid the main subject in the footage. So, like, I'd imagine companies like Caption or Canva are probably just going to buy up little companies like this, add it to their repertoire, and then eventually, Adobe's going to have to figure out how to compete with them.
Well, actually, Adobe bought Canva, according to a couple articles online.
Really? And right now it says parent organization Canva Pty Limited. I can't, and then it says Canva's owned by them. Yeah. But maybe they were bought. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking at something from hightechglitz.com that Adobe acquired Canva with a freemium offering, including a few quotes from Shantanu Narayan and a couple other Adobe people. They've picked up Figma recently and this sort of thing.
Interesting. Yeah, I heard about the Figma thing, so that's interesting. So if Adobe did buy Canva, then actually that article's September, like end of September. So that's brand new.
Yeah. David Wadani, Adobe's chief business officer, predicted the market for non-professional design software would one day be as big as the professional market as more and more people try to improve their online image for commercial reasons. Quote, Individual and small businesses want to monetize something. They switch to the internet and social networks to build their brands, he said. And so that's why they're moving into this, because of needing to be able to offer what Canva does offer, which is high speed, get it out the door and get something done.
Honestly, that makes perfect sense that Adobe would have bought them too, because like I said, it was about a month and a half ago is when they announced that they had the new feature, like the video background cropping. And I guarantee that Canva Create probably, if not that itself, maybe I'm sure Adobe probably knew what they were going to be releasing before it was actually announced. I'd be willing to bet like those new features are the things that were like, yeah, we need to hop onto this market, because like I've used Figma before. Figma's nice, but Figma's also a bit clunky in the sense that like people try to like use one board for everything. And I have a client who like their board is so massive that my Chrome will actually say like, hey, this program is not loading. Do you want to wait or exit page? Because it takes so long to load, right? So I think people get a little out of hand with Figma. Although I do know that Figma just added something where you can take designs in there and immediately integrate them into no-code websites, which is incredible. Okay. So like they're definitely, if Adobe has both of these guys, that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. It makes, they seem to be absorbing everybody.
They are. So. Yeah, absolutely.
Adobe wants to be all things for all humans. It's an interesting organization to be around.
Yeah. It looks like I don't know if they did buy Figma. I just saw something that they were looking to buy Figma, but that might be an old article.
Okay, so what are the main things you get by going pro as opposed to the free version? I've just far stuck with the free version.
Yep.
I'm assuming more assets, more things like the free photos and stock footage and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So the biggest things that you get are first off, you can add team members without up to the four additional members. You get access to their entire collection of images and videos, because I would probably say like the majority of them are in the pro package. You kind of just get a little bit of them in the free package. You get background removal, so that's part of the pro version. Like you can't use that without paying, because it is a very nice feature. You get access to what's the other big things? The resizing, that thing that I was showing before. So the ability to resize and do that multiple times as well. That's all part of the pro version. I think any resizing is pro version, which is, again, that's why it's so fast, right? Like if it was free, it'd probably be, you pay for what you get, right?
You need to become a reseller for Canva, I think.
I know, right? I need to get like an affiliate link.
That's a great ad.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, we should just like send this to them and be like, hey, want to sponsor this? Yeah, but honestly, like it's just like one of those things where so Seth Godin has a really good, really short blog article about loss aversion and what is it, sunk cost fallacy or something like that. The whole idea is like people pay for Adobe, they've been paying for it for years, or they bought, like me, I bought the creative the CS6 master collection, right? So like there's people that do that, they put all this money towards it, and we have a thing called confirmation bias, right? So we're like, Adobe must be better, it's in all these different ways, why would I give more money to another company? Like that's gonna get in people's heads. And then one day I had a client using Canva, so I had to use it. I started playing with it. I'm like, man, this is really smooth. And then I was doing stuff, and I kept coming across this thing where like, man, I just need that one image that I have that's a pro thing. I just need this one thing. And then one day I'm like, oh, I got to go remove the background in Photoshop. I got to open it, wait for it to load, get the photo in there, edit it out, just to put it back in Canva for this one client. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to try it. And then, like I said, I paid for it. I was like, wow, this is so much faster. The resizing was great. Everything was working incredible. And then I get somebody who needs help. Here, come onto my Canva account, right? And I think it's like another $60 to add another 5 members or something like that too. So it's not that expensive, even if you have a large team. But yeah, 100%. Like it's, I think one of the biggest reasons that a bunch of Adobe users don't use it is the sunk cost fallacy. It's this idea that because they put money towards something else that they have to use it, when in all reality, like it's not that much more. Like if you're not earning an extra $60 a year using Canva, I don't know what you're doing with Adobe at all. You know what I mean? Like you should be
$2 a year. That's like what is that, $5 a month?
Yeah, like that's like, what is it? What Subway subs used to cost 5, 10 years ago, right? Like it's nothing in comparison. And I don't see them increasing it much in the future. It's been 60 for quite a while. I'd imagine if they're ever going to increase it, maybe it'll end up being 100 a month. But I can't imagine them doing that for the next year to 2 years until they add more features to it. But yeah, it's definitely incredible for, like I said, dollar per dollar. If you're trying to create content, it's just not even close.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I think it's time to wrap things up here. We want to thank again russhedge.com for being our sponsor today, and time to sign off.
Ciao.
Bye.